This week on the PS Premiere podcast, Rob reviews The Fly, starring Jeff Goldblum.
It's one really bad bug.
Preston gets fed up with Travis.
I do not care. You look like an idiot.
And I try to convince the audience I'm down with the kids. I've been active on the internet since I was in high school. Hello, and welcome to the 33rd episode of the PS Premiere podcast, ya ball bags. I'm joined tonight by my good friend and frequent guest of the show, Rob Hudak.
Oh, hey, hi, hello there.
You know him. He's here every week. Travis McGahee.
What are we doing?
And, of course, the final member of our regular crew is here, Preston Wilkie. How you doing, Preston?
I'm the Australian.
And I, of course, am Brian Keese, the host with the most. I'm here every week. You know me by now. Let's start, as we do every week, with what we're currently playing. Travis, why don't you lead us off? What are you playing right now?
Pretty much one thing and one thing only. That would be Nerds Online. And I believe two of you have become familiar with this game over the last week, 2 weeks or so. This is a competitive solitaire, like multiplayer solitaire game, where the aces all go in the middle. And so everybody has to fight for supremacy over those aces, and it's a lot of fun. It's no pressure, low stakes. Nobody ever gets mad.
Nope.
Yeah, it's just
It'd be pretty
time.
silly to get mad over a video game, especially a card video game, right? That would be ridiculous.
Yeah.
I can only squint so hard.
I hate this fucking game.
Why, Brian? Why do you hate it?
It's too stressful.
Tell me more. You've said it a lot.
It's too stressful. I can't handle it. I'm stressed at work all day. I go
crunching numbers.
I go do golf practice, and that's stressful because none of the players on my team have ever picked up a golf club before, and we have our first match in less than a week. And I get home, I put my feet up, I'm finally ready to relax, and then I get a ping on Discord from Travis saying, "Anyone want to play some Nerds?" And it's just the worst.
And then everyone puts their damn aces all the way to the left, and I'm on the right. It's a nightmare.
I'm sorry, I'm on the left.
Sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah. So Nerds, it's basically like your basic Klondike draw 3 solitaire, but everyone plays their aces to the middle of the table as like a community pot, so anyone can play on any card in the middle. And so if you're waiting to play your 2 of spades forever, chances are by the time an ace of spades finally comes up, there are 3 other people also dying to play their 2 of spades. And that's what causes most of the consternation.
If you have time enough,
up to 6 people.
And if you have time enough to think, oh, I need to play that 10, that 10's already been played. You're completely out.
Yep.
It's really good brain exercise, but it takes a lot of mental energy. It really takes it out of you, and if you play it past a certain time threshold, you're just like, why are you even doing this to yourself? Ryan was talking last night. We were playing Ryan Stabell,
Captain Stubbs, right?
I think he's a regular on that other show, right?
Yeah. We don't talk about them.
Yeah, definitely. Well, but he was saying we were playing at 6:30 the other night, and he was like, wow, it's incredible to play this game at not midnight. It feels so different. And I'm like, yeah, it really does.
Yeah, one thing I will warn people about with this game, like legitimate warning, is the base game is free, and then there is a $10 option to unlock card colors, like the backs of the cards. You can change the colors, and it gets you 1 different card back style. I thought, incorrectly, that would also get me the other card backs, because there are some really cool ones, but you only get those if you have bought the other games from this studio. Do you remember what the name of the studio is, Travis, that put this out?
Zachtronics.
So that's
right. So a little bit of background on this. Zachtronics has made their own solitaire game inside basically every one of their games that they've released before now. But somebody who worked for the studio brought this game Nerds, and they played it in person at the studio, and they developed this game just so they could keep playing Nerds with their coworkers during the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
And it was developed enough that they were like, hey, we should just release this for free to the public. Also because it's not a card game that they made up was part of why. But
they've also made games like Opus Magnum, Exopunks. Yeah, they're really into like puzzle and logistical type games.
Eliza was the big one recently that I had heard of.
Also, I'd just like to remind Rob, we don't use the P word on this show. Thank you.
Sorry, exo assholes.
Yeah, fuck those guys. All right, Travis, I hear you've also been playing some Breath of the Wild.
Yeah. So Breath of the Wild, Zelda Breath of the Wild. I don't think it needs any introduction to this show's audience. I mean, bunch of Nintendo fanboys all around, right? I never beat
That's what
it.
the show is all about, bringing you the biggest Nintendo news.
Yeah. I got a Switch on launch day with the special edition of Breath of the Wild. Never beat it. I'm pretty sure I only beat 2 Divine Beasts. I thought I had beat 3 on my initial, but after having beat all 4, I think I've only beat 2.
Well, if you've beaten 2 of them, you've beaten all of the 4 bosses, basically.
Well, the bosses, yeah, but the beasts themselves.
No, I know. I'm just making a joke of how all 4 bosses are essentially the same boss.
I mean, if you do so that like kind of leads me to where I'm going. Like, I think this game is like, you know how to figure out what foot somebody puts forward. You like push them from behind to see what their instinct is, to kick out. I feel like this game you put in front of somebody who plays, a fair amount of games and watch how they play it. And like, this is the easiest way to see how someone like plays games, because I pulled up the Hero's Path. And I was telling Rob about this, that he would just absolutely hate it because it's just straight lines everywhere, like on like roads, just about, because what I like to do is get as much quality of life stuff as I can to basically remove as much friction from the game as possible. And so Breath of the Wild, I went straight to the Rito Divine Beast to get Rivali's Gale first to make all the platforming everywhere else easier. Shout out
to the best ability
by the way, that extremely breaks every Divine Beast.
Yep.
Like having Rivali's Gale completely breaks the Divine Beast. Like I don't know how you're supposed to like solve a lot of the puzzles in the rest of them.
You'll never know.
I did that. I went and got enough shrines to go and get the Master Sword. I snuck into the castle to get the Hylian Shield, and I finished off Terrytown. And then I've done the rest of the Divine Beast now, and I'm doing the DLC that gets you the motorcycle. And then I'm gonna go have fun. So, but I don't know. What do you get? That
so
because this is so expansive,
that's not fun.
Right. Yeah. I mean, in a way, but I played similarly to this. Like as soon as I heard about the Master Sword and the Hylian Shield, like I went after those things as quick as I could in my initial playthrough.
That's fair.
And I never had an issue with the weapon durability. Like my issue was always having way too many badass weapons in my inventory and not knowing what to get rid of.
Yeah.
And like thinking about it, I think because this is how I played, that's why I never ran up against the friction of the weapon durability system, really. And I was interested to see what y'all's take on that would be.
We have no take.
Wow.
I mean, I
All
can.
right.
I probably have
Not the weapon durability system in particular, but the idea that how somebody plays this game
Yeah.
kind of would give you an idea of the general path they would like to take through an openly structured game.
I think that's whenever you were saying that, I think that's a really apt way to look at this in terms of, are they going to the mini bosses? Can you see the line of this like meandering? Because that's how mine was this meandering loop of just seeing every little thing in every corner, in every side. And I think naturally you do sort of build up a like an arsenal, right?
Arsenal. Yeah.
That helps you to take care of anything that comes in your way. But actually, the first thing, as soon as I figured out the shrines thing and how that's how you really got heart upgrades, that was then my immediate thing. I had stopped for nothing but shrines. And so you can see that sort of pathway once I finally had a goal. But at first, it was this looping back and forth of, I've got to cover every inch of every visible part of the map. And I think they didn't add that in until much later, right?
Yep, that was a later
Right.
patch. That was with the first expansion, I believe. The first DLC was the Master Trials.
Yeah.
Master Sword Trials. Yeah, I loved when they added that in so much because it was so interesting to see. Because you could see, as I've talked about before, like instantly off the Great Plateau, booked it to like Castle Town and Hyrule Castle proper, and like you can see like instantly the deaths, and then, and then like, all right, let's see, because I spent time going up the towers that they had there, the spirals, and
Sheikah
then
Towers.
the Sheikah Towers.
Yeah,
those in particular, and then like just going to a lot of elevated positions, marking things, and then just not even specifically shrines, it was just things that were interesting to me because the game constantly rewarded that, and so it had that feedback loop. But it is funny, when Travis told me that, I was laughing a little bit because that doesn't surprise me at all, knowing Travis and like focusing on getting those quality of life things instantly. I'm definitely more of a meandering type of person with that, but it's also in part I like to just, this was something that Travis and I were talking about as well, it kind of in the same breath of that conversation, was I'm more of a like, if you're engaging with a game where you enjoy the systems, why not continue to participate with those systems if it's the game is giving you more opportunities to do so? Just engage with them on their terms and see what different ways you can play it. But that's just that we were talking about some shitty PlayStation exclusive game, like we don't have to worry about that. But yeah, I think it's really interesting the way that people approach this game, because it really does enable you to approach it from so many different directions. I never had an issue with weapon durability because I also engaged with the different camps and stuff and like to explore, so I was constantly getting rewarded with little things. Sure, it was impermanent, but it was a way to have fun and experiment and try different things. And it constantly allowed me to experiment, and that's kind of how I played that game constantly, was just experimentation and poking at shadows and stuff, sometimes literally, like in the Lost Woods.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, I'll get there.
Probably I'm probably like a mashup between the meandering style, and then I always get to a point where it's like, okay, I've meandered for like a good 40 hours. I'm ready to like plow through the rest of this content, and then I would like go look up like, okay, I'm missing like 18 shrines. Where are they? How do I get to them? How do I unlock them? Just so I could like, because it's like I do love discovering those puzzles naturally, but at a certain point it's like, this is taking up so much of my time, like I want to get through it, I want to see them so I can experience the puzzles, because that interests me. But yeah, like some of those are really well hidden. Did either of you find all the Korok seeds?
No.
God no.
God no.
I didn't want that little golden pile of poo.
I did
No.
get, I mean, I got all the shrines. I don't know. I think I only got like 300 Korok seeds, something like that,
sounds
maybe
about right for
400.
me.
Only?
That's
That's
more
a
than me.
third.
Yeah, I think I only got about 80 to 90. So.
I was about 200 to 300, but that's because I again, like I constantly stopped looking at stuff.
Right.
Like that rock looks out of place. There's a
Yeah.
Korok seed
Yeah.
here.
And that was, I mean, one of the big pushes for the meandering style, right?
Mhm.
But once I finish a game, any game, I almost never go back to it. And I've tried to go back, and it's just that sense of I just need to let it all go and forget everything in order to go back to it. And I think I'm getting close to that.
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same way. Honestly, like I'll tell myself I'm gonna platinum a game and like get a little bit into New Game Plus, and then just completely fall off.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Platinum. What are you playing Breath of the Wild on? It's a Switch game.
Xbox gamer top gamer award. That's what it is, right?
Speaking of which, what is that
The
called?
Xbox gamer top gamer award.
It's 100%
They don't have
completion,
one,
right?
It's just full
Yeah.
achievements.
Right.
Like it's usually
Yeah.
like 1,000 point achievements, but there's like no turn.
It's just like the most verdant green. It's not a platinum. It's just really, really green. It's emeralding something.
Oh my god. Yeah. It's the most fertile green you've ever seen. It's
Well,
filled with gamer points.
Speaking of Zelda games, I'll go next. I've been playing a game that is very similar, unashamedly similar to the classic Zelda game Link to the Past. That is Rogue Heroes Ruins of Tassos. I've been talking about this on every podcast I get invited on because I love it so much and I want people to be playing it. But this, like I said, the art style, the gameplay, everything, it's Link to the Past shoved into a roguelike, shoved into like Stardew Valley.
Yeah, it was like tailor made for you.
Yes, absolutely. So we're playing this on Switch as well. I've also got a file going on Steam. Those are the two platforms where it's available. You don't find good indie stuff like this on the other platforms. So, but it's a really cool one. It's the dungeons are very Zelda-like, except for the fact that they are procedurally generated. You'll get rooms that are familiar, but they shuffle the order they're in, the location they're in, the enemies that you'll encounter. And then when you die, you will respawn back in your village. You have a chance to build yourself up, build the town up, do quests for the villagers, things like that. And then you go and make another run through the dungeon, which it's very similar to like going through the caves in Stardew. But yeah, just that art style. You know, I've talked at length about how Link to the Past is my favorite Zelda game of all time, and this is channeling it so hard. It's like getting a new Link to the Past adjacent game. So I've convinced Travis and Rob to play it with me a little bit. We enjoyed it. We ran into a game-breaking bug on the Switch, unfortunately, which hopefully they will get fixed soon. But...
Yeah, and it's specifically tied to multiplayer.
Okay,
that's
right.
The only issue we've encountered is it's one really bad bug, and when you're exploring dungeons and you have, so let's say some groundwork. You can pick up things like bushes, or there are puzzles in the dungeons where you pick up orbs and move them from one claw pedestal to another, unlocking a door.
Very Indiana Jones. Yeah,
right. You can throw those, and like if you throw it normally, it like, and it hits the ground, collides with the ground, it just shatters. And when you're in multiplayer, apparently we've discovered throwing things, I'd say probably 80% of the time, shit just vanishes.
What?
Yeah, it's like Ant-Man. It's like when Ant-Man.
It's online multiplayer only.
Is it just the online? Yeah. The online multiplayer.
Had no problem. Couch.
Okay. Yeah. So it's just the network stuff. It disappears into the ether and does not replenish. So if you're trying to, let's say you're in a chamber and the only way to unlock the doors that have locked behind you is to move a glass ball that has these tiles on the floor that you cannot walk through with the orb, but have to throw to another person. And when you throw it, it vanishes and doesn't respond. your only option is to die. And if you can't die, you just have
You've
to
already-
quit the game.
Oh God.
And you
Yeah.
lose all the gems that you gathered on that.
Right.
Like
It's-
that's bad.
But apart from that,
Right. That's the only
It's
issue
great.
we had. Aside from that,
Like-
it was so much fun.
yeah, like I would give this game, like personally, I know I probably am higher on this than everyone else. I would give this like a 9 out of 10, and it's not like a 9.5 because of that. It's not a 10 because there is no spin attack with the sword. I don't know if Zelda has that trademarked or what, but like, give me my spin attack. It's the only thing I want in that game.
Yeah, I'd drop it a little bit lower simply because, in part, the other classes, everyone still has a just regular sword attacks.
Yeah.
And the only difference to start is outside of like some statistical stuff, like some starting health and all that stuff. It's very minor, but the only difference really is like you have a different dash attack or a different dash. So like a witch will teleport, or a mage will blink and teleport.
Yeah.
A knight will like do the link charge attack, but everyone still has a sword, so it doesn't feel that different. Whereas if like the ranger started with a bow, like you would assume,
Right.
I feel like that would add a lot more to it. You can purchase slowly these items permanently and upgrade them to the point where it kind of functions as a main weapon, but that requires a lot of time investment in order to do that.
Yeah, like I've gotten to the point now where I'm in the second, or I just finished the second dungeon, and I'm now playing as the witch class. And I've got the rod with a couple of the spells. That's one of the other cool things I've discovered is there are like 6 or 7 different spells that are hidden across the map for you to find.
Cool.
Yeah, and I've gotten it up to the point where it's like my sword is doing like 35, 36 damage per hit, and that wand is hitting for like 45, 46. So it's like
Just
I'm using
nuking
the
them.
wand a lot with the witch, yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, I agree though that there could be some more difference, especially early on between the classes for sure.
And this is fully released, right? This isn't like a early access game
Yep.
in any way. This is so they're not. I mean, I guess potentially, obviously, they could still patch around that sort of stuff and
I hope so.
change
Yeah.
it up.
They have for the PC, apparently. That was in one of the patch notes that was acknowledged.
Oh, okay.
I just couldn't find any details specific to the Switch. So it's probably just a little bit behind because like consoles are a little different with their certification patches and stuff. So it's probably on the way down the line. It's just for the time being, it's buyer beware kind of a thing that you might encounter if that's your plan.
Yeah. And another game I've been playing in which I die a lot, oldie but a goodie, is Dead by Daylight. I just recently got into this. We were planning a crossover with another show. We'll see how it goes. But one of the proposed events that we were going to be doing with them was Dead by Daylight stream. And we all downloaded this just so we could practice it and have some idea of what we were doing. And we all enjoyed it, I think. But my wife and I, Mikkel, got like super hooked on it. And this is actually like when Travis is like, let's play Nerds. I'm like, nah, I need to chill. I need to relax. I'm going to play Dead by Daylight and have Freddy Krueger try to murder me. Like, it's more relaxing than Nerds.
So have you already gotten so into it that you've downloaded all of the additional like monsters and all the additional I guess monsters, right? Like what are the villains?
They're
All
killers.
of would be
Killers.
pretty expensive.
That's what I was
the
thinking,
different
right?
Killers. Yeah, it gets a little pricey, so I'm trying to decide like, okay, if I'm going to download one, which one do I really want? I've been pretty content playing as the Huntress that comes in the base package at this point. She's like a Russian orphan who wears like a rabbit mask, and she has these throwing axes that you can just chuck at people across the map, which makes her pretty darn deadly. So I've really been enjoying playing as her. I know Rob has played some as Pyramid Head, which is a super fun crossover.
Well, the I guess he's licensed, but like they just call him the Executioner.
Really?
Right.
It's his title in the game, because in Silent Hill he doesn't actually have a name. Everyone just calls him Pyramid Head. His Pyramid Head thing. But he is an executioner, and so he just goes by the Executioner in the game. And I usually play Cheryl Mason, or Heather Mason as I know her from Silent Hill 3.
Yeah, but they've adopted that with all the characters, because even like I think Freddy Krueger is called the Nightmare. He's not called Freddy Krueger. even though it is licensed. Like there are characters
Hmm.
from those movies in the game. Same thing with, I can't remember what they call her, but they have the killer from the second or third Saw movie is in there, and
Oh
like
yeah,
yeah, and they have, you know, the detective who's in those movies and his name is in there, but they never call the killers by their
except
given names.
except for the Demogorgon,
Yeah.
which is
What else
interesting
you
for
call it, I
the
guess.
Stranger Things. Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
called the Demogorgon.
Was the
Yeah.
Demogorgon specifically named in the world of
Stranger-
like in D&D?
Well, Demogorgon
If
is a
it's-
thing in D&D,
Right.
but like they have Stranger Things tie-in because they have
Yeah.
Nancy Wheeler and Steve.
Okay.
Steve. Shout out to Steve.
Shout out to Steve and Scoops
Steve
ahoy.
is always a bro in Dead by Daylight. Like if you're playing with a Steve, I learned this from Haley McLean, who we played with a little bit. If you're playing with a Steve, like he will help you out if you get tossed up on a meat hook. Steve's a good dude. Trust in
Jess
Steve.
always plays Steve. But yeah, they're like they're named adherent to their licenses, and the monster in the first season of Stranger Things is called the Demogorgon by the kids.
Right.
Like, so they adopted that nomenclature. So it's like seems just kind of inconsistent, which is fine. It's just odd, but maybe that was part of the license, was that they had to call them the Demogorgon. But
yeah,
totally
and the
fine, sure.
other cool thing with Dead by Daylight, and we could have talked about this in news too, but they're constantly adding new content, even though this game came out 4 years ago now, and they just announced that their next setting and monster is going to be entirely based around K-pop, which is a strange, like fascinating choice. But the new level will be a K-pop studio, and I believe it's the singer who is murdered by like a jealous manager or sibling or something. I don't know, but you'll be like trying to avoid the K-pop singer who is this monster who has like 80 throwing knives, and if they hit you with like 20 throwing knives, you get an injury state. And I'm super excited to see the new level and see how that plays.
So strange.
Yeah, and they're planning a full like graphical overhaul for like full textures and everything for it down the line too. So because it looks dated, it's fine. The game's still fun, but they are by all accounts like intending to do just a full graphical pass on it. So.
Are they doing like an Xbox Series X full? The next gen upgrade, is that going to be with the graphics package? Right. Oh, okay. Huh.
But it is worth mentioning. So it is part of both PC and console Game Pass. So it is included with that subscription. The additional like expand. I mean, right? Mm-hmm. All the expansions are still paid and side stuff like the different killers, and like there you still have quite a lot to pick from. But also it's fully crossplay. Even with mobile, like 2 different versions of it on PC, like the Steam version, PC Game Pass. Yeah, like it's fully cross-play, and it's great. It's an absolute blast.
Yeah, I would highly recommend getting the PC or the Game Pass version. It runs super smooth, and it's easy like any time of day. I'm so used to playing, as Travis calls them, dead games between Killer Queen Black and Nerds now, that it's so nice to like be able to jump on there any time of day and just get a match within like 30 seconds. The fact that it's like still going that strong 4 years later is awesome.
It's huge.
So yeah, going from old games to new games. Rob, what have you been playing?
It's so new, it's not even out yet.
Yeah.
So I have recently been playing a Kickstarter backer demo for a game called The Last Faith. Now it's worth mentioning before we go on, like it's a Kickstarter that ended like a year ago, I think, but they've enabled late backers.
Okay.
So you can go on at any point now and basically like pre-order the game through Kickstarter, which is pretty cool that they have that as an option. But yeah, you can, so if you wanted to, you could Kickstart it to the level, I think it's like the digital collector's edition at like, it's like €40, so it might be $55, but you get access to the demo and like your name in the credits, stuff like that. But so if you stop me if you've heard this before, it's a 2D pixel art Metroidvania in the style of Castlevania and a Souls-like or a Souls game known as Bloodborne?
You had me at pixel
How
art.
many of these boxes have been checked by almost every game released in the past 10 years?
I was gonna say, didn't you just play a game like this a couple months ago called like Cyber Shadow?
Yeah, so yeah, that was more of like Ninja Gaiden and
True,
Shadow of the
true.
Ninja. But yeah, so it's just okay, which flavor of 2D platformer pixel art are we getting this week? And I love them so much. Those are like yes, they are a dime a dozen. So it takes a lot for them to stand out, I think. This one stands out substantially to me. For a number of reasons. First and foremost, the animation is incredible.
It looks pretty cool.
It looks really good in motion. The level of detail that it has for things, because you can execute enemies as you are capable of doing in something like Bloodborne, where you can do the attack to stun them, the stagger, and then do the back execution to like summon the wolf claw and make him explode, or in Sekiro do the death blow. This has something similar, but it's different per enemy. So any enemy that has a possible execution has a specific animated execution for them.
Neat.
So if you've played Bloodborne, if you remember those riflemen that are shooting you with the top hats from a distance, you go up to them, you knock them to the ground, aim the rifle at them, and just pull the trigger and make their skull explode and they collapse. If you're fighting a gargoyle, you put it on its back, tear off each individual wing and slam it on it. And like, even if you're not executing them, if you're shooting the little like imp gargoyle things, they just turn into cinder and ash. Every little thing just has such great detail attached to it. And so streaming it a little bit, and just it's so fun having like exploring this game, especially with Travis was chatting with me for a little while I was checking it out fully, and being able to sit in like, I described it to both Travis and Ryan Stabell as everything about the game, from combat to its atmosphere to its music to the UI and the menus, feels good. Not just the combat. Like, the combat feels incredible. It's deliberate, it's methodical. It feels like a Souls game should. There are like deliberate attack animations that you can get caught up in, but it is not so punishing. But it has weight to it, and it also reminds me so much of like original Castlevania games. It has a vibe for it, and like, I can't wait to see if there has to be a whip hidden somewhere in this goddamn game. And I cannot wait to get that. But the spear so far, my favorite weapon. Keep this on your radar. It's releasing on all platforms. The tentative release window is 2021. Who knows? It could be like just as soon as like end of summer, but we don't really know the impact COVID has on so many of these games. And like, it seems like indie studios in particular are usually the least impacted by COVID for the most part, as opposed to AAA, which has huge studios that are used to being like in-house. We'll see. If it gets pushed out to 2022, that's fine. Give this game as much time as it needs.
And how long did you say that the demo was? I don't remember if you bought that.
So I was playing for probably an hour and a half.
Okay.
I got to explore plenty. There was a full screen bar health boss fight. Very reminiscent of Dark Souls 1. If you've played Dark Souls 1, anything tied to gargoyles, you know what that means.
Oh, great. That's where I stopped playing Dark Souls 1, actually.
Oh, great. You'll love this.
Exactly where I stopped.
And the last thing I'll say on this is Bloodborne is often regarded as a masterpiece game, but has one common criticism in the blood vial farming. As a consumable, as opposed to what Dark Souls does with replenishing Estus flasks. This has blood vials that are consumed, however, and you also have like a mana bar, but there are certain spots, I will say I found one in particular, like a bonfire checkpoint altar system, that when I was at 0 of something, be it bullets or blood vials, replenished them.
Hmm.
So no matter what, if I was out of something, like say on my way to fight a boss and I was at the altar right before that boss and I was out of blood vials, it replenished me up to like 4. So I could always at least have some sort of engagement with the combat. It was encouraging me to participate in it, which is an excellent call. But beyond that, yeah, I'm very hopeful for where this could turn out. I just hope it's as big as I was joking with Travis. I hope it's as big as Hollow Knight, but I don't want to be that greedy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Awesome.
that was The Last Faith.
What
But
else
what
you
we're
got?
really here to talk about is more Switch stuff.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
So I picked up Bravely Default 2.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I grew up playing. My introduction to gaming was from my dad through the NES. My first video game was Mega Man 2, also Castlevania 1 and 2. But alongside that was Final Fantasy and Dragon Warrior, well, as Dragon Quest translated, or as it was changed to the West, as Dragon Warrior. And then it eventually continued to be Dragon Quest here. But it's very much a traditional, like Final Fantasy, feels like a Final Fantasy 4 with its job system. Probably the best job system I've seen in a JRPG, with the ability to rotate between, like you can have a main job and then a sub job, and so you can swap between, let's say you want to start building up job points with your main, or you got a new one, like you started out as a white or as a black mage but you wanted to change into a white mage. So you can swap them, but you can have your black mage, all the progress you've made on your black mage, in sub job, so you can continue to use that
Okay.
stuff, but you can build experience with the white mage, so you can build some versatility.
Well, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. It doesn't punish you for wanting to experiment.
Is this kind of similar? So you mentioned Final Fantasy IV. That reminds me of Tactics a little bit, though. Not so much the sub job, but just switching between the job classes like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You can definitely, and you can, so you start getting things as you progress. They're called asterisks. It's kind of a sub MacGuffin for the plot, but they're basically like relic stone things that look like amber that you accumulate through plot points, and that they start unlocking different potential jobs for people. So one
Crystal was taken, huh?
well, so that's the thing. You're starting by taking crystals. You have to find 4 crystals, because of course you do. You start by looking for the wind crystal, but wouldn't you know it, your amnesiac hero that washes up on the shore is tied to the wind crystal. Stop me if you heard that one before. It but yeah, like, so it, as far as combat goes, like the moment to moment mechanisms of the game, it feels like, so did any of y'all play Octopath Traveler?
I started it. I want to go back to it.
Okay.
Especially with Project Triangle Strategy. When we saw the demo for that, that made me really eager to go back to it.
It's so good.
It's on Game Pass now, so no reason not to.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah. Another great game to play on Switch
big
or
Xbox
Game Pass.
game.
Yeah.
Preston, did you play any of Octopath?
Just the demo. I played through.
Okay.
I think there were 3 characters available, 2 characters available in the demo.
Right. Okay, so at the very least, you'll have some touchstone for how combat worked in the demo in Octopath. Is you could like charge up essentially and either make something more powerful or have multiple attacks. How this functions is you can either build up charges. You start at 0, I should say. Like, you start at 0 charges of like your brave meter or brave points. You can, if you want, consume and go up to 4 in the negative to have like 4 actions. So if you wanted to just spam attacks, you could out the gates just charge up all your braves and then go attack, or Kira, Thundara, Kira, and then attack, or what have you. Or you can defend, or what's called default is your block basically, and you can accumulate and build charges of your brave points to get to +3. But it ends up being 4 because on that turn after you have 3 charged, you can get back down to 0. You don't have to spend all 4. You can spend as many of those as you want. But but the trade-off is if you go into the negative, you can no longer act until you've got back and replenished up to 0.
Okay.
So there's a risk reward factor in the combat. Enemies also can do this. Bosses will do this. And so there are instances in which they'll sit and just go default and, have their shield up. And then let's say they go like they're fully charged, go bravely, summon full like defenses, like magic defense, physical defense, and then like can potentially overwhelm you if you're not prepped for it. If like let's say all your entire team is at like negative brave points, you're screwed.
Yeah.
So
You mentioned this is Bravely Default 2, and it's similar to Final Fantasy 4, but it's actually the third game in the series, right?
Is it really?
Yep. Yes.
Yeah.
There's Bravely Default, Bravely Second, which was the sequel to Bravely Default, and then Bravely Default 2.
So is this like a Final Fantasy 2 where it's a different story, or do I need to play those first two games to understand what's going on here?
As far as I'm aware, I really didn't play Bravely Default or Bravely Second. As far as I'm aware, it's a completely original, isolated thing, much like a Final Fantasy game.
You're not having any issues following it, not having played.
It's really simple. It's a very simple story and game. It's fine. It's full of like your JRPG interpretations of Western fantasy tropes and having fun with them. It's fine. The story's it's whatever. Like the art style was initially off-putting.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. Is that
the chibi art style? But there are instances at which it actually looks pretty good.
Okay.
It's some of the characters I'm not as hugely fond of, but overall, like the enemy designs are really good. Like for whatever reason, like it seems like all the graphical power, it's like an Unreal Engine jammed into the enemy like designs and polygonal forms, but like it's on a backdrop of just like paper almost. But yeah, the light reflections, everything looks great. But yeah,
nice.
It's up and down. But like the core gameplay loop is very satisfying. My dad's playing this, the person who got me into these games. It's exactly what he was looking for the longest time. Just a traditional JRPG format, but with kind of updated graphics to some extent, because he's kind of tired of, the pixel art thing. And this and like Dragon Quest 11.
That's yeah. Okay, so whenever that came out, that was sort of the idea. Was it's like a return to form and just simplicity in terms of the mechanics and it's like getting into that comfort zone of what you remember JRPGs to be, right?
Yeah. It feels like an old glove that got touched up and new coat of paint on it, basically, that kind of a thing. Yeah. Feels great. It's a joy to play. There's one last thing I'll say is it has a cool online component, which I also mentioned this to my dad because he wasn't sure what that was, and I explained it to him. You hear like an online component too, like a traditional JRPG in this sense. Like, what does that mean? There's a point in the early on in like the story where you get a rowboat essentially that is lent to you, and you can set sail. And while you are in sleep mode specifically, you can't turn off the switch or go and play a different game, but in sleep mode in the game, over the course of 12 hours, you go like real-time hours, can accumulate, like go on adventures and find treasure. And in those treasure chests, sometimes you'll find things like small or medium job point orbs. So you can constantly, like, if you're offline or like if you're not able to play, you're still able to, like, if you go to sleep, accumulate things to get progress or
That's
like
a neat
experience
idea.
orbs. Yeah, it's cool because it encourages participation no matter like if you stayed away for a while, and like you can come back to it. But the reason I bring up online is if you play online, all it does is you encounter other players' names on your adventures, and you can encounter better potential rewards and rarities of, like, instead of a bunch of smalls, you might find a couple large or a few more mediums, stuff like that. But it's a neat concept and fun game.
And Preston, what are you playing?
Well, now we've got video this time, so you can check out these guns, all courtesy of Ring Fit. Yeah. All right.
You looking swole.
Thanks. I have been playing a little bit of Ring Fit, and by a little bit, I mean it's very off and on. I have no consistency in my workout, just like any other workout I've ever tried to get into.
That's what they say about working out. It's best when it's rare and inconsistent.
Yeah, exactly. So, and just in between cheeseburgers. And but they do a solid job of actually gamifying. And it's one of those things that it's that age old, how do you make exercise fun? And there is, every time I'm done with an exercise, whether it be like 15 minutes, 20 minutes, or 5 minutes, there is this like self-satisfaction beyond the idea of I just worked out and I can now go talk to people about it and be like, I worked out yesterday. Like I started this segment off. But the idea is like, as you're playing through, you're jogging the whole time, you've got your little Ring Fit, and you can turn and pull to vacuum and push to shoot. And so you're constantly using it, and it has a surprising amount of resistance. And so it really does, like, it keeps you constantly engaged with the tools that it gives you in a way that you actually get a pretty decent workout. All the mini games have obviously little exercises that go with them. There's a map that is much like a Mario world, the classic Mario world map, where you're going from stage to stage, and each one is just an endless runner, right? But you are actually jogging. And it does a really good job of keeping you entertained. The story is stupid. The voice acting is awful. The graphics and like the visuals are really nice and sweet and cute, and the main villain is really weird
it's
looking.
Supposed to be in the Breath of the Wild engine, right?
Yep.
Like, is it really?
That's what they said. Yeah. Yeah.
I would never have guessed that. That's pretty cool. Yep. So the main villain is a giant, I'm gonna guess like a bull demon in a purple and black spandex like unitard, right? And it is just so, it's so a giant
it's a bodybuilding dragon demon named Drago,
that's his name. And
like the Russian in Rocky IV.
That's and I've been wondering if it's supposed to be some sort of nod to that. And it's just supposed to make you angry. But it's good. I am really thoroughly enjoying it. It was maybe not worth the $80 that I spent, but if I'm still back and doing this a year from now, it will be. I'm only a couple weeks in, right? So
yeah, this is one of the ones I'm like waiting for a sale, but I would like to check it out at some point, but I don't know if or when that's going to happen, because it's still very difficult to find. It's as soon as Target gets it in stock, it seems like it's sold out the same day. Like people are looking for it actively. So, and it's a
Nintendo product, so they're just, if they do go on sale, it'll go on sale by $10, $5. I can't.
Which is all it should go for on sale for, because Nintendo only makes quality products,
right?
So.
I mean, we're pro Switch here, pro Switch Premier. So I mean, we're all about it, right?
Does Drago ever say at any point, I must break you, or if he dies, he dies?
And I want to like see if I can fail a stage, and that's like the end thing is Drago. See if
we don't have that version here. They don't allow stepping on people in American games.
Yeah, I am waiting for my Rocky montage. Like quick cut would be really sweet. At the end of like every world, they should do some sort of montage cut,
like a hero's journey of sorts.
Yes, yeah. So at the end of every level, they do make you do this really dumb looking like celebration where you hold it out in front of you and then you squat and then you jump up and you like hold the ring up
Turn
in
it
the
into
air.
experience with a victory pose.
That's exactly right. And I always make sure that as soon as I finish a level, I'm screaming to my wife, like, come check out my victory pose. Come here.
Check out my
She's
form.
just like, I do not care. You look like an idiot.
Fucking nerd.
Yeah, she's pretty over it. But it's still fun. I've also go ahead.
I was just gonna say your wife is not a gamer, correct?
No,
Gamer
not much of one.
TM.
We are.
Would it matter if she was?
Even as a gamer TM, I also know I look like an idiot.
There are no mirrors in the room with Ring Fit.
Right. Now, that's something that I'm really gonna try to get her to play. It Takes Two with me, and like have that, because A Way Out, I think, was a way in for gaming, but it didn't quite land. Just I think because of the presentation of the game, whereas this I think would be a little bit more approachable.
Well, if she needs some convincing, wants to watch some gameplay, I hear Draft Punks might be streaming that Saturday night. But
man, what a great channel!
Otherwise, what else have you been playing, Preston?
I have recently been playing and finally trying to finish Fallen Order. Nice. Again, this is all just older games, but it came to Xbox Game Pass, and I've got the Series X, so I've been playing like that upgraded Series X version, and it is buttery smooth and it is beautiful. And one of the first things that I did was I played for, I don't know, 5 to 10 hours or whatever, and then I went back to my Xbox One to see the comparison, and it makes me appreciate the next gen hardware in a way that I haven't seen from many other games because of that 60 frames, which I know, PC, right? But being able to play it on console and see sort of like Cal's hair doesn't look like a helmet that's just plastered onto his head. It actually moves in the wind.
It doesn't look like a 3D printed skull.
Yeah. There's BD8's lights that are on a BD8, BD1, right?
That sounds right.
BD1, his lights on the back of his head when in the right conditions actually give you a little bit of that lens flare refraction. And that's really just impressive. And it helps to further immerse you. And whenever it first came out, there was a lot of, in the reviews, was just, it's a game-ass video game that you're not expecting maybe like this third-person action adventure that is very immersive like you're going to get from other lesser developers. You're going to get a real video game for real video gamers, right? But with this upgrade, there is a lot of immersion building aspects of that have been really incredible.
Yeah, it's
really
the
enjoyable.
little touches that really help add, like the little bits of polish that, like if you have hiccups or like frame dips or like loading screens that can prove to like make a barrier to stop you from really sitting and enjoying it. And like when you just cruise through, it feels so much better. It adds so much to the experience. And like I played a little bit of that game when it first came out on my PS4, but no surprise, it ran like crap. So I decided to, was like, all right, I'm going to check this out on my PC and see how it does in comparison. And it ran better, but I decided to wait because they announced that they were doing a patch. This was like right around launch. So it was like, I think a week or two after it had come out. They're like, we have a big patch coming for PC. And then I think PS4 and then the Xbox One will come later. I think that's how it was. It's usually the case. Anyway, and it ran great. And I put it on Jedi Grandmaster because it has the parry system similar to Sekiro. But this is definitely a more arcadey version of that. However, the difficulty, one of the big things tied to it is the parry animation window gets a lot tighter. And by getting it to that low, the Jedi Grandmaster, it felt better to me because then I could time my parries right and engage with the combat better.
Right.
And that made it way more fun.
You've got much more of like a Souls-like background
totally
in terms of approaching that game from someone that is used to parrying a lot more. I think Brian and I were talking about it the other day on stream where it was just sort of like this was the introduction to a parry system for
Totally.
for us.
And I think that's great that it has that as an option. I
Yeah.
think that's like such a brilliant call that this did that. It tied the parry window to difficulty, because that's honestly, that is a big factor for a lot of like challenging games, is how tight that parry window is.
Yeah, I was saying to Preston that is probably the closest I will get to playing a Souls game.
That's fair, man.
Yeah,
that's totally fair.
It took Star Wars to do it, but they finally got me.
It's a great game.
They're also going to be, I was talking with Preston about this when I was showing off my Galaxy's Edge lightsaber on a stream recently. But they're going to be selling Cal Kestis's lightsaber at Galaxy's Edge soon down at Disney World, which looks really cool.
Does that include the poncho?
Does not include the poncho, but it has like the charred end on one side from where it got damaged. So. All right. You know what?
That poncho is awful.
I hope that the Cal Kestis, I hope the Cal Kestis lightsaber actually has the exposed wiring. And so if you accidentally grab it wrong, it like fully shocks you.
Oh, it does. Well, yeah, not actual wiring, but it looks like it would hurt if you accidentally like poked yourself with the
got some sharp edges.
The first lightsaber that could actually hurt you. All right. Well, the next thing here on the notes is impressions, but there's nothing written under that. So we're just going to move on. We've got a word from our sponsors.
World premiere.
Xbox Game Pass is the premier place for games. Whether it's Bethesda, EA, Bethesda, or EA, we have you covered. Game Pass. We buy games so you don't have to.
All right. Awesome. Game Pass is great, guys. So next up, we are going to hit the news roundup. First off, we saw there's a new fan-made Breath of the Wild mod. This is like a large-scale thing. Like lots of people are working on this to basically add in like entirely new storylines, quest lines, things like that. And I'm curious, is this enough to get you guys to come back to it and check it out? Rob, what do you think?
Well, I mean, I am absolutely going to be playing this. So I'm currently playing through all the Zelda games right now, starting with Skyward Sword and going through the quote-unquote official timeline as laid out by the Hyrule Historia. More as just a fun guideline to kind of play through them all again and catch up on some ones that I missed. And the final game I will be playing will be Breath of the Wild, but I will be playing a version of that will be running at 4K and 60 frames per second. And this mod has just come out, or is like coming out, or is in the development process. But yeah, it's got like 50 fans working together to make
group. Yeah,
it's huge. And like they've reworked some old shrines, like they just modify them in some ways, I think, to give them slight quality of life touch-ups. Crafting is going to be in there. I'm so curious to see, because I'm going to be modding the game ever so slightly in a couple ways. I've already played through the game regularly and on master mode. Loved both of them and want to go through again, probably on master mode. But one of the main changes I'm going to make is that I'm going to make the Master Sword and the Hylian Shield unbreakable, because those should be unbreakable.
Yeah. Agreed.
Those are the only two things I think should be unbreakable in that game. I know the Master Sword replenishes after 5 minutes. It's still bullshit. You should be able to use the Master Sword all the time. I could meet you halfway and say that the upgrade you get for doing the trials would like disappear for a period of time. Like after using it for so long, it gets slightly weaker, but you could still always use it. It's the fucking Master Sword. Anyway, that, and then I'm going to add this to the options and check out, since I've seen like really everything Breath of the Wild has to offer. 4 years removed, people still doing things to this game and modifying this game and constantly pushing at the physics engines. And like if you watch highlight reel, constantly videos of people doing like amazing
very
trick
impressive.
shots
Mhm.
and just breaking this game in so many interesting ways. And I want to play around a little bit with that. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be having this.
Nice.
What do you think about so you said that they were adding in like crafting and stuff like that. Sometimes those sorts of elements can really bloat a game in a way that
Totally.
Zelda's openness in my hour account in Zelda was all based around being in the world, not in the menus kind of thing. And that was a very big aspect of the game that I really loved. Do y'all think that some of these fan-made things could really retroactively sort of like taint the way that you look at these? I mean, it wouldn't change how you remember it, but I would be worried that it might over bloat the game and it might break some of the mechanics that I've loved so much about Breath of the Wild.
I mean, sure, totally. If I would not recommend this for your first time through, for sure. But if it's a game that you love playing and love engaging with, and want to see, like, what Breath of the Wild is, and like you could still just as easily, like with the crafting stuff, I imagine you don't have to engage with that shit at all. So that's kind of the impetus is on you if you want to participate in it. If that is a fun outlet for you, you totally have the means by which to do so. But if it's not, like, you just bypass it and that's totally fine. But that's the thing, is this is a completely extraneous, non-official thing. It has no impact on how I view the game, other than I'm curious to see what other creative people have come up with to play with and break this game I already love. Yeah. That's how I view it. But I could totally see, like, if it was your first time, like, what the hell is all this shit doing in this game? It's like, well,
yeah, I think the danger is that it starts to creep into like Assassin's Creed territory, which I love those games, but there is a lot of bloat there.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, Nintendo themselves did add a motorcycle that can climb up mountains. So while I wouldn't say that bloats the game by any means, they are definitely breaking their own mechanics in a way that they're like, yeah, if you've been here for a while, here's where you start playing around.
Wait, that motorcycle lets me drive up mountains?
Pretty much.
I made the right decision.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, the motorcycle's cool. Motorcycle's a great addition.
All right, so next up here on the list is a story I had not heard about yet, but Travis, maybe you can tell us a little bit. Niantic and Nintendo are teaming up for a Pikmin project.
Yeah, you nailed it. You know now as much as I do, buddy. So,
fair enough.
Well, nope. I know one other thing.
Okay.
They've said it will be pretty different from Pokemon Go. So
but it'll be just like Wizards Unite.
Great,
is anyone here
vastly played game?
Yeah, is anyone here playing any Niantic games anymore? Pokemon Go?
No.
Yeah.
I only ever played
Ingress.
the Ingress for a little bit, and then played Pokemon Go for like 2 weeks. I was like, I'm good.
Yeah, I have a lot of friends that are, well, not a lot of friends, just in general, but I have some friends. No, I don't. I have a friend that like plays Pokemon Go pretty.
You've got a friend who's a goer. He's a goer.
Big old goer going around. She really loves Pokemon Go still to this day, and I wonder, will this be the Pokemon Go killer? You know, we've been waiting, we've been asking, when will it come out?
All those Pikmin fans out there.
Yeah, what a weird franchise to pick.
Yeah, listen,
man.
I was very into Pokemon Go for way too long. I actually went to one of the Go Fest events in Chicago. Not the one that was an absolute train wreck, but like a couple years after that. Yeah. And I had a blast. Like, it was super fun. And I enjoyed the game for a long time. It got to the point for me where I lost the nostalgia factor as it got to like Gen 4 and Gen 5, where it's like, okay, these are not the Pokemon I grew up with. So I just didn't care as much. Yeah. but I love that game, and I put lots of hours, and I don't want to talk about how much money into it. So, and I do love Pikmin. Like, I've played all 3 Pikmin through multiple times, so I will at least be one of the few people checking this out whenever it's revealed.
Well,
so, thank
I mean,
you for enlightening me, Travis.
This show is called Pikmin Stands Premiere, so I mean, it only makes sense.
That's it. That's
so
the show.
Speaking of which, do y'all think this leans? I can see where there's really cool ideas, and there could be, like, I don't know, you go up to a traffic intersection and you just send your 20 Pikmin out into it, and you just watch them. You just watch them go right in the middle of traffic, right?
Just have that maniacal.
I don't know if the AR is going to have the animations to have the cars do anything but drive through them.
Ah, dang it.
Well,
the future is not
Travis, now. But even though I'm not actively playing Pokemon Go, I still follow the news, and they did update their AR recently to the point where it probably, you're right, it could not handle them getting run over by a car in real time. But what they can do now is have the Pokemon, the AR camera will recognize objects in your path, and the Pokemon can run behind them. So you could have a
cool.
Pikachu in the photo mode that can go behind your couch or whatever from where you're sitting. So stuff like that is starting to pop up in these games, which is pretty darn cool.
So they're gonna maybe do it where you have an object that you that you have in frame, and then your 20 Pikmin go and bap at it with their faces for a little while, and then or pick it up and carry it around and carry it back to you, and you get a certain amount of points.
I would play that, to be honest.
I think it sounds neat. It sounds like a neat idea, but I don't know. But I also didn't know about Pokemon Go, and that clearly took over the world. So for at least that time.
Yeah, Preston, check out my Mewtwo.
Oh, is that a shiny?
No, but I do have.
Get out of here!
Here you go.
Not a real game.
There he is. The green shiny Mewtwo.
All right.
Just for you, buddy. All right. What's next here? Monster Hunter Rise review roundup. Who put this in the notes? Who cares about Monster Hunter?
I don't. I don't.
It's a Switch game for the world.
I definitely don't care, but I figured it might be something to touch on.
I'm just trying to piss off Ryan Stabell. How is the I went on the Game Informer website to check out their review, actually, and I was a little nervous clicking into it because on the headline it says Monster Hunter Rise, the runt of the litter, and I was like, oh no. But the review it's a little more lukewarm, I think, than a lot of outlets, but they're still pretty high on it. I think they gave it an 8 or a 7.5.
7.75.
7.75.
Really?
There you go.
I know Imran. Imran said it's his game of the year so far, even with an extremely thin end game. So that's one real hot opinion I've seen. I mean, though, what are your other game of the year candidates right now?
Right. It takes two. Nerds.
Came out last year.
Valheim currently.
Yeah, Valheim's a good one. I think, by the time this episode comes out, I will be a couple hours into It Takes Two, so that might be taking the spot for me. Rogue Heroes is probably mine at this point, but again, like Travis said, that's just because there's not a lot out yet this year. I don't know if it'll keep that spot. I have a feeling it'll be in my top 5 to 10. But yeah, I've never actually played a Monster Hunter game. I've watched a lot of it on the Spelunkers
they're fun.
Twitch channel. They look fun. Yeah, it's just not
Monster
my
Hunter
kind
World
of game, but I enjoy watching it.
Game.
Yeah,
it's a great game.
Yeah, I think it was like 9s, 9.5s for the most part, and then I think you have some of the outliers that are a little bit lower.
Yeah, it's just normal.
Game Informer, bunch of hacks. What do they know?
But hey, it's good for someone's fantasy critic.
Yeah.
That's fair.
So the last piece of news we have here is there was a rumor going around this week that some companies are reaching out to Discord about a possible purchase. And the chief one among them, this is an article from Bloomberg, was that Microsoft was interested in buying Discord and had floated out prices upwards of $10 billion. That's billion with a B. And I would just like to start this conversation off by saying Disney paid George Lucas $2.5 billion for Star Wars. So Microsoft is valuing Discord at 4 Star Wars.
I would also like to state we are recording this video component through Discord.
Yes, we are. We love Discord. Discord is
We
great.
do love Discord. That's the thing. And Discord doesn't turn a profit.
Yeah.
So I guess I just have a hard time seeing them not take this offer, and that's a worrying
I've heard that
sign.
they really want to go public.
wasn't a
Oh, the Discord
I mean, they
ones?
tried.
Yeah.
They tried the game store for a while, and that
Right.
failed. I mean, you have Nitro, right? And that's basically
animated
where all their
emojis,
money
yeah.
comes from.
Mhm.
Yeah, which
Server
we all pay
boosts,
for because
yeah.
we're freaking suckers.
I just
I
started
make
mine
use out
yesterday.
of it every day.
Absolutely. But I guess I didn't use Skype a lot before Microsoft bought Skype. I don't know if y'all did, but that's
No.
like one
I
thing
did,
I've
and
seen
now
as
I
a
don't.
point of concern from people.
But yeah,
Because they rolled all the good functionality out of Skype and into Teams.
Right. And that was going to be my question to you, Travis, was, you know, all 4 of us are of that age group that kind of grew up when the internet sort of began to skyrocket and become something that was commonplace in people's homes. And one of the first things that came with that was instant messaging services. And it's like, I've been active on the internet since I was in high school. So I don't know, 20 years now. And it's like, I've gone through AOL Instant Messenger and Yahoo Instant Messenger, MSN Messenger,
IRC.
Skype Messenger. Yeah, there's Slack now. There's Discord, IRC. Yeah, and it's like all of these
IRC
services
has been around forever and will always be around.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's
right.
I feel like I should just learn how that works.
It's the, it's the foundation. It's like the Morse code of internet chat.
Yeah, but
I feel like if you know how to do RSS feed and that chat like for yourself, you're good to go.
Yeah. But it seems like these services, you know, boom in popularity for like 4 or 5 years, and then there's a new iteration that does it slightly better, and all of a sudden that one tanks. And it's like, it just seems like it's a matter of time before,
especially if Microsoft buys it.
Yeah. So
well, yeah, and
insane.
Is this valuation like completely bloated because of the pandemic, right? And
no idea.
This usage is huge right now. Like every student that I have has it on their phone. They're always, Discord is sort of the thing that is being used almost ubiquitously alongside things like what has like TikTok or Snapchat, and now I'm feeling old again.
Yeah.
And so is it still being overvalued because we're all using it? And then once we can do I mean, obviously us 4 are sort of spread out across the country, but once people are able to do their podcasts, you know, together in their homes, are we going to see?
I think normally, potentially, yes, you would be right. I think in the case that Brian brought up, as far as technologies coming to the fold and then like gaining prominence for a while and then kind of just falling off, I think what we really saw that happen to some extent with this pandemic was Zoom.
Yeah.
Zoom was the one that really rose up, but I don't think it's falling by the wayside as much. But that was like
I still use it every day. I think
sure.
Right. It's still definitely a day-to-day component for a lot of people right now. But Discord was around well before that, and it's constantly updating and shifting based on feedback from community, and it's inextricably linked to what is now like the most profitable entertainment medium in history. Compared to films and music, it is way more profitable than those two combined.
Yeah.
And so if you have like the default communication platform where like so many companies have their their official Discord. I mean, yeah, our Facebook was that for a long time, but then, you know, elections and stuff kind of fell out of favor. This
I
is
mean,
like a living forum to me, and it's been great.
Yeah, my thing here is this probably kills the dream of having Discord on integration on PlayStation.
Well, it's
Why would you
maybe
want it
This
on
happens.
PlayStation? Ugh.
I think it'll
Yeah.
definitely. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's fine. I was just gonna go back to your point on Zoom a little bit, but it's like I'm looking at like the stock price for them because they've been publicly traded since
Yeah.
before the pandemic. And
Mm.
when they opened their stock in 2019, it was at $62. It got to a high in October of 2020 of $588. And it is now back down to 314. So it's already,
Yeah.
with the pandemic still going, it's already down, 40% from that high.
Yep.
Well,
So
and I think there's something to be said about the pandemic. The Zoom's sort of user-friendly functionality of get into it and you're pretty well, and it wasn't even that great, but it was perceived as great. And again, like Brian and I are talking about being used every day. We're only using it every day because schools are scared to learn new things, and they were told this works and they used it and they never looked
Right.
anywhere else, right?
So it caught on.
Yeah, it
the
caught
best
on.
thing Zoom did was get their hooks into the education
Correct.
industry. Yeah.
And but for people our age, even a little older, and of course younger, they maybe got Zoom, started doing Zoom parties with people, and then realized, wait, we should just shift to Discord, where we can have these sorts of features as well as all these other, the watch parties, and we can do things that are a little bit more effective in terms of building a community, right?
Yeah, it's a universal communication platform that transcends like it. I mean, outside of the fact that it doesn't really work on consoles yet, but I feel like if Microsoft bought them, we'd find better platform integration there. But like, I can have the same conversation on my phone or on my computer with people.
Yeah,
that's huge. I don't text anymore. I use Discord DMs.
Mm-hmm.
It's the easiest way for me to communicate.
Yeah, my wife and I DM on Discord way more than we text at this point.
Same with me and Jess.
Yeah.
We just Discord because we can also link GIFs and stuff to each other. It's easier to post hyperlinks, all sorts of stuff. It's just easier to use. It's built into the system.
Absolutely.
So why do y'all think? I mean, Bethesda's $7.5 billion because, of course, they needed something to support. I mean, I thought it was a pretty good buy. Bethesda made out pretty well with it. And now Microsoft has something to really beef out Game Pass, right? Is this sort of their
proprietary stuff?
Right. And is this sort of complementary to that idea of we've tried to build up our repertoire, that's not the right word, catalog of apps that you can use in order to create communication. None of that's worked. So let's just get someone else to do it for us, and we'll just pay them whatever we can.
Throw money at it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and that's some of the speculation is that they just announced they're changing the name from Xbox Live to what?
Xbox Network. Yeah.
Yeah, which bringing Discord into the fold would make that move make like perfect sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was listening to Giant Bombcast this week, and Jeff Gerstmann made a great point. Is like the branding, like semantic stuff there could just be like it used to be a long time ago. It was like Xbox Live Gold and then Xbox Live Silver. There was a delineation between paid and free. But as they're starting to go to integrate like free to play games as not requiring Xbox Live Gold.
Finally, yeah.
Right. How fucking long is it taking them to do that? They're the only platform that does that still. And just on Xbox. But point being, finding a way like foundation level is just having the Xbox network as like kind of an umbrella to cover everything that could incorporate, including like free to play games and all of that, but still having like Xbox Live as like your subscription service, or like tied to like still something separate from, because Game Pass is an Xbox network thing.
Mm-hmm.
You don't necessarily need live to play games for Game Pass unless they're multiplayer games. But like if you have like an internet connection and Game Pass, you don't need Xbox Live. You would just be on the Xbox network downloading games to that. So it's kind of a foundational delineation, it seems like. But it's interesting. They're definitely trying to restructure and shift things around and throw money at problems.
Yeah.
And they have the money to do it. So I guess.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on. We've got some community questions, as always, after our news roundup. We've got some great questions from the PS Premier community. PS, of course, stands for PlayStation Sucks. First question is from Dory. Dory asks, Rob, what is your favorite thing about the DualShock controller?
How much it makes me appreciate the perfect controller, the Elite Series 2.
Yeah,
that is the best controller in history.
I mean, it's good. I've said it before. I'll say it again. If you're not using Joy-Cons, are you even gaming?
Mm-hmm.
But
I never
you
felt
are, and giving yourself carpal tunnel.
I never felt more precise playing Hades than whenever I was using the Joy-Cons.
Brian, you use 2 Joy-Cons? Come and see me when you're using your single Joy-Con without a strap.
More like dad pad, am I right?
I am curious though. So, Rob, your favorite controller is the Elite 2?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Travis, what about you? What is your favorite controller of all time?
I don't know. I really like the Pro controller.
It's
except
good.
for the D-pad sucks.
D-pad's trash.
Like the D-pad is absolute freaking garbage, and I hate it.
Yeah,
but it's got
the only
like
downside of the controller.
It's got the best weight of any controller. Also, I think part of why I'm like so much more into Breath of the Wild this time is because I'm playing it on a Pro controller and not Joy-Cons. Like,
that goes a long way.
It goes a very long way. Like I've played. The only thing I've done on Joy-Cons is gone snowballing to farm money. But it's either that I loved the N64 controller. You know, I played Tetrasphere, so I got my use out of the D-pad on that bad boy.
Get this fucking guy off this.
I was gonna say
I'll never come on it again. Don't worry, Rob.
I was gonna say my favorite was the third player Nintendo 64 one with the wobbly
Mad Cats.
Yeah,
the
wobbly analog stick.
And the joystick just falls.
Yeah.
I mean, I was.
Yeah, but when you plug it in, it lights up.
So.
Come on,
it's clear. So.
Yeah, I mean, I will honestly, the most fun I've had because of the controller I was using is probably a Rock Band or Guitar Hero peripheral. I've seen
the DJ Hero controller.
Yeah, that is fun. I was gonna say I've seen people play other games using the Rock Band guitar or the drums, and it's insane the skill level,
Donkey Kongas,
and coordination that must take to pull that off. Yeah. I wouldn't be able to do it, but it's super impressive every time I see it.
With Donkey Kongas.
All right. Our next question comes from Marvelson. What a name. He says, "What is an Xbox?"
I've got an answer for this.
Okay.
I believe it is a miserable pile of secrets. Is that right?
Miserable pile of secrets. I thought it was a comfortable pile of miserable pile.
Now have at
That's
you.
what Dracula calls the
enough
Xbox,
talk.
right?
I'm like,
yeah, I know what you were going for, Travis.
I did not. I'm like
That's
the Captain America gif, except I don't understand that reference.
Yeah.
We're the real
Dracula
gamers.
Dracula says, "What is a man? A miserable pile of secrets." But how about you?
How about you?
Listen, I'll do you one better, Travis. Why is an Xbox?
Because Microsoft decided we can stand up to Sony, and they did better than Sega did at the time.
Yeah. All right. Last question here comes from James Smith. That's
Never heard of him.
obviously a fake name.
Yeah.
But it says
Sounds like a bob bag, if you ask me.
Yeah. Preston, I like the
Chapish.
PlayStation. Do you like the PlayStation?
No.
There you have
right.
it, folks.
And that's community questions. Next up, we've got a game from Rob. Rob, what are we playing tonight?
We are playing video game 20 questions, as always. Now,
Da-da-da.
and we should insert, like, I don't know, the Wii Shop music. Smithy,
I'll put a
if you
note
get
there for Smithy.
Yeah, please put in the Wii Shop music, because we're going to be playing Name That Game. With which Nintendo game is this? This appeared on a Nintendo console. That is the only clue that you have.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
On one Nintendo console. It's only been on one Nintendo console. You
It's
said
been on-
a Nintendo console.
It's been on a Nintendo console. You interpret
It
that
has
how you
been.
will.
Okay.
Damn
All
it.
right.
That was a good. That was a good thing.
And
All right.
and Rob, what are the rules here? Do we rotate to?
Y'all determine amongst yourselves. If it makes it easier for you to not talk over each other, you can do that. If you want to just, like, if you have it and just shout it out, go for it. And they will be yes or no responses. So make them yes or no questions.
Does it have Mario in it?
Wow.
Are we starting?
I guess
Does it have Mario in it?
that's a fair question. Preston, are you okay with that?
I'll allow it.
All right.
No.
Can I not allow it? Can I take it back? Oh, that's not one of my questions.
No.
Oh, damn it.
I'm just kidding.
Was it released before 2000?
Yes.
Was it released before 1990?
No.
So it's not Scat then. Okay.
Oh, is this a once we guess, whoever guesses is then out kind of thing? And then, but it also uses up a question.
No, I mean it's
I don't
you
know if
have
they're
20
out,
questions
but it would
to
use
guess
up a
the game.
question.
Okay,
Yeah.
just want to make sure.
And if you guess wrong, it ends it. If you guess the game
Does
and you're
it-
wrong, it ends it.
Does it
Mm.
have a character in Smash Bros? A playable character. A
Right,
playable
right.
selectable
I-
character.
To my knowledge, no. Fairly certain, like 99% positive, no.
I have a feeling I am not gonna know whatever game Rob
I
picked.
think so. I'm scared. Was it developed
ways-
in Japan?
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
we're at 5.
Do you play as a human character?
No.
I'm sorry. Are we going in
Nobody's ever
rotation or
said-
are we just
We
asking?
were, and then
Yeah,
you
we
went
were.
out of order.
My bad.
Yeah,
I will.
Mute this man.
That's okay. It's fine. Travis?
Is this a standalone game? As in, were there ever
no
any
sequels? I believe it is. Yes.
Okay.
All right, so let's just recap here. We're at 7 questions. Is that right, Rob?
Yep.
Okay, so it was released between 1990 and 2000.
Mhm.
It
NES,
starred-
SNES, 64, or Game Boy.
Yeah, it had a human main character that you
No.
played as.
No, non-human.
Not
I
a
said
human.
Could,
Thank you.
Uh,
Not a
could
human.
be Virtual Boy.
Thank you.
Single game
Uh,
in Japan.
single game, and there's no playable Smash Bros. Character from this game.
Correct.
Okay.
Look up the Virtual Boy list of games. right
Hands
now.
off keyboards. Hand check.
Wait,
Okay.
when was that
You-
stated as a rule?
Integrity.
Do you play as an alien in this game?
No.
Okay. Maybe an animal or something?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Is it an anthropomorphic animal specifically?
Yes.
I couldn't imagine what else it would be.
Oh. Good question. Anthropomorphic too. I like it. Okay.
Yep.
What about? Oh no, because that's had sequels. I was thinking like and Smash. I was thinking like Star Fox, but that's definitely not it.
Falco's brother.
Was this game developed by Rare?
No, that's 10.
I wanted it to be Jeff.
You already
Forston,
asked. You already asked if it was made in Japan.
Yeah.
Oh,
Rare is
that's
not a
good.
Japanese studio.
Wait,
Someone had asked if it was made in Japan.
That was Travis. Yeah.
no, I know.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know that Rare wasn't a Japanese studio.
They're British.
Oh,
Hmm.
the more you know.
Is it?
If you have one, Preston, go ahead.
Oh, okay, yeah, I was about to. Sorry. Is it first party Nintendo?
No.
I'm gonna assume that Googling things is frowned upon right now.
I'd say so.
He said hands off keyboards.
Okay, my
He
hands
wouldn't
have
let me
not
look
touched
up the list of Virtual Boy games.
My hands have been off the keyboard.
I'm just saying, if we don't know it, I don't think Google would know it either. You know, I think at this point Google wouldn't know it.
I'm trying to narrow down what animal it would be.
Might be a worthwhile
we
path.
should. We could also, find out for sure what console it's on.
Oh,
also
that's
a
a good.
good path.
Yeah, that's a good path.
Yeah.
Narrow it down.
If this was MinMax's Trivia Tower, people would have gotten it before we even asked a question. Okay, is it on the... Sorry, what were the options there, Travis? Was Super Nintendo one of them?
Yes,
Or
NES,
N64.
SNES, N64,
or
Game,
Game
Boy, or Virtual Boy.
Is it on the N64?
No. 12 questions.
Oh boy. Travis?
I really want to burn a question just to ask about the Virtual Boy here, everyone.
I don't think it's on the Virtual Boy.
Is it on the SNES?
Yes.
Okay. Anthropomorphic animal, not in Smash Bros. One-off game.
From Japan.
So not Star
on the
Fox.
SNES. Not
It's
Star
not
Fox,
Star Fox.
Star Fox 2.
though. Unreleased.
Okay,
Not
so
a
we're 13.
standalone game.
Do you think? I don't want it to count as one of my questions. I just want to know, like, have we heard of this game? But I'm curious how obscure Rob went here.
What about?
I will, as a freebie, I was capable of reading the room to some extent and not like trying to be a dick to throw you off. Like I picked something for a reason, which will become clear when the game is revealed. But
Well,
but
feel like the
point,
next-
point being, there's a possibility you would be familiar with it. There's a good possibility.
Okay. Is there more than one playable character?
Ooh, good.
Yes. 14.
Is it my turn?
Yep.
Is it? Okay, so Super Nintendo. Is it an RPG?
I
Define
would
RPG, Preston.
right. That's
We've got another hour, right?
yeah.
I
I
guess,
would
like-
say it does not adhere to a conventional
Okay,
interpretation of from this era an RPG.
Okay, appreciate that. That's sort of I was thinking traditional Japanese.
So basically no.
Yeah.
And so that's 15.
Is it on the Nintendo Switch Online Super Nintendo Entertainment System for Nintendo Switch Online service?
I'm pretty sure no.
Here's where we get him, boys. Remember this. He loses if he is wrong on this answer.
I can
'Cause
double
we
check
all
to
know-
be clear.
We all know the list of games on the Nintendo Switch Online Super Nintendo Entertainment System for Switch Online
Yeah, I keep waiting for this vote
library.
to figure out what the next throwback Friday, flashback Friday.
What the punishment is? Why do you think I keep talking about scat, Preston?
It's scat. It's scat.
It's scat.
It absolutely is not.
Oh,
Okay.
we just meant the punishment is scat.
No, I know. I'm saying
Yeah.
that for clarification for Travis's question,
Yeah.
it is unequivocally no,
Not
it is not there.
Mm.
It is not scat. I didn't make it that easy.
Preston, if you have a question, go for it, because I don't.
3 left. Actually, yeah, 3 left.
Wait, 4 left. We're on 16, right? We just did 16.
Yes, you're right. Sorry. Yeah.
This man trying to take our questions.
I would like to pass to Travis.
Yeah, because I've had such great, useful questions.
So yeah, three questions and then the guess, I should say,
Okay,
Okay.
because the last question has to be the game.
sure.
Oh, Travis, I have one, if that's okay.
Go for it. Yeah.
Did this game release on other systems?
I believe no. I'm pretty based on all accounts from the listings I saw, no. It is exclusive to the SNES.
Is it a licensed game?
Yes.
Oh,
2 questions left.
shit.
So, from this point, good time to dial in a couple things. Think of what you've got yes on so far and where that has helped you the most.
I feel like it hasn't helped us at all.
I mean, you
Helped us
dialed
greatly,
in
yeah.
anthropomorphic animal,
Anthropomorphic animal, SNES.
right?
Okay,
Japanese licensed game.
Okay, Japanese licensed game.
Well, a licensed game.
Where
made
did
in Japan.
licensed game come from?
He
Oh,
just
that's the one I
licensed.
just asked.
You
Yeah.
literally
Oh.
just asked that question.
Well, see, my guess, I have a guess, but I don't know if it was developed in Japan.
That's I have
tell
one too.
us the guess, and we can decide.
Yeah, you
That's
guys can
true.
talk it
That's
out.
true.
Oh,
I
this
can't
has
confirm
sequels.
anything, but
Earthworm Jim, but it has
That's-
multiple
but
That's
sequels.
gotta have more than one
so-
game. Yeah,
Oh well, would the TMNT side scroller?
there's been more than one of those.
And I
it's
don't think
got
that was
multiple games,
Japanese made, right?
What about? No, that's not a licensed game. I was thinking about like Yoshi's Island or something, but
Well,
That's
yeah, and
also a
he's in
sequel.
Smash too.
oh,
Yeah.
duh,
there,
yeah,
there are so many ways that.
yeah. All right, you know what?
But I get it. I totally get the process.
Yeah,
Okay, so a licensed game from Japan on the SNES, not in Smash. There was other information we were
I
given.
mean, the licensed game part makes it make sense that they're not in Smash.
Yeah,
and you said you could play as more than one character, right?
it's anthropomorphic. It's kind of an RPG, but not really an RPG. Is basically what I gathered.
I'd say no. I'd say overall no. I wouldn't worry about that.
Travis, you got something?
No, No. it's not. It's not the Lion King.
No, that wouldn't be Japanese based.
And I think that I had that on like Game Gear also.
And Simba is definitely a hidden character in Smash Brothers. So,
I mean,
it up.
can't argue with that. Clearly.
Hold on.
The Adventures
Hold
of
on,
Yogi
hold on,
Bear.
hold
I'm
on,
looking at.
Hold on. How many questions do we have left?
2.
One,
Yeah.
2 total. 1, and then the game guess.
I could get used to this. Is the licensed character Mickey Mouse?
No.
Oh, damn it! Damn
I
it!
will say
So the
that was
is Disney.
that was a very smart gamble, though.
Yeah, I was just thinking, because you said you picked it for a reason. I love Disney, so
Anthropomorphic
It's not for you, though, Brian. The reason is not you.
but I'm the center of the universe, right?
I couldn't imagine.
Fair.
Okay, I couldn't imagine it would be for me. So,
Okay.
Travis,
Time to guess.
this is a you game.
Yu-Gi-Oh?
I have no idea. I don't have no idea.
I will say, I will give you one more hint.
Okay.
Because that last question was good.
Is it
wasn't
Bill
Mickey
Lambeer's
Mouse.
Combat Basketball?
Is that your guess?
No.
No.
Let Rob finish his hint.
It's not Mickey Mouse.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
I mean, you already said that.
Was there a Donald Duck video
that's
game?
a pretty big fucking clue.
Was there a Goofy video game? Was there a Minnie Mouse video game?
Oh, look at the eyes he just gave you when you said that.
Was there a Goofy video game?
I don't know. Travis, does that ring any bells for you? A Goofy video game? I'm trying to
The
think
only
of other
thing I've got is that.
kids cartoons.
Hey, I guess you
Tiny
missed the
Toons.
part where I said I had an SNES for like 3 to 4 months,
Yeah.
and then my parents asked me to sell it to my aunt so they could give it to their kids for Christmas. So I didn't play very many SNES games, Brian.
Okay, that's fair. Preston, you got
I
nothing?
see there was a Pinocchio game, but Pinocchio is not an animal.
Hmm? If he was not man, then what was he but animal?
Wait. Was there a Darkwing Duck game for the SNES?
Oh shit! I think there was.
Rob doesn't look impressed though.
He doesn't.
I'm no longer reacting. I've given you your hints.
He's got his
Alright,
poker
we-
face in.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
We've
I'm
gotta
no
make a guess
longer
here.
living up to the rules of not Googling, so, you know.
The man has to have
I
his
think there
V.
was a
Well,
Darkwing Duck.
let me confirm
Dark-
that there was one, and that'll be our guess.
I'm wondering if there's another game.
Oh, no, there was an NES
Rob-
game.
Hold on.
There
so
was an
Rob
NES.
made he said it's not Mickey Mouse was a big, I quote, a big fucking clue. Which makes me wonder if it is a different anthropomorphic mouse or rat.
Was there a
The
Stuart
Darkwing game.
Little video game?
It's too good.
Someone licensed that out.
Tom and Jerry, a Tom and Jerry video game. Is
Made
the
in
new movie
Japan?
out?
A Hanna-Barbera video game made in Japan would be so weird.
Mighty Mouse. I don't know, man. I got nothing.
Yeah, I think we are.
I think we're
Okay,
down.
go. You got to go with a guess. You got to get your 20th question and get a guess.
Travis, send us home with some.
Is the game Battletoads?
That's not
Sadly,
rare. That's not rare.
It's not rare though. He said no. Oh, Battletoads is rare.
Right.
My bad.
Battletoads was made by Rare.
Yeah.
This is not Rare.
All right.
Way to go, Brian. We would have gotten it if that wasn't have been your guess.
Probably.
Gosh.
No, the game is an action-adventure video game developed and released by Capcom in 1993, based on the television series of the same name, Goof Troop.
It was a
What?
goofy game.
Dang it!
Now, as bonus points to anyone that can guess why this might be relevant this year. There might be a particular anniversary going on.
The anniversary of a Goofy movie.
No.
Is it the anniversary of the Goof Troop game?
I mean,
No.
every year is the anniversary.
Yeah, but that's not what this is.
If you're going to say it's because Travis is a goof and it's his anniversary on
Oh.
this earth, I'm hanging up this call right now.
Well, get ready to edit it out. No, it's so. This was one of the first games designed by one Shinji Mikami, the father of Resident Evil, which this is the 25th anniversary of.
That is such an extended line of reasoning.
No,
Oh my
so
God.
it's the 25th anniversary of Resident Evil. What was one of the first games Shinji Mikami, the father of it, made? Goof Troop. It's a Nintendo
It's
game.
there. It's there. It is there.
Yeah. All the threads were there, Preston. It was our fault for not pulling.
You
up
were
hard
really
enough.
close. You were toward the end. You were starting to get really close.
If I had never,
But-
This question was. Ugh.
Let me just post this for the man whose favorite game is A Link to the Past.
Oh boy. What are you sending me here?
Oh, hold on. Open image in a new tab.
Is the Goof Troop game A Link to the Past like?
Oh, it's not.
I'll click the link.
No, hold on. There we go.
I see it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically Legend of Zelda: A Link to the
Yeah.
Past.
Probably better because it's got Goofy in it.
Gorge. You could play as either Goofy or Max.
Yep.
I was just gonna say, Legend of Goofy: A Link to My Son.
The MVP question there was Preston's anthropomorphic animals. That was clutch.
We got it. We
Yeah,
got it somewhere. Didn't get
that
us
was
there.
that was a big one.
Yeah. All right. Well, great job, Rob. You stumped us. Before we go, do you have anything you would like to plug, sir?
Don't play PlayStation.
That's a good plug.
Yeah. Yeah. What should you do instead?
Literally anything else.
Fair enough. Travis, how about you?
There's these guys I like to watch sometimes. They're called the Real Draft Punks. We've poked some fun at them throughout the episode, but they're pretty cool guys, and one of them is having a birthday stream on Sunday, so you should check that out at Real Draft Punks on Twitch, Twitter, TikTok, and any other social media app that starts with a T.
Oh, is it Ryan's birthday?
Yeah.
And by the time this releases, I think you'll probably be looking for the VOD of that birthday stream.
Oh, that's
Oh
true.
shoot, you're right.
Yeah.
I guess it'll
But
be
no,
today.
it
comes out in the morning.
Yeah,
It comes out in the morning, right?
That event is today.
Yeah. Yeah, that event's happening today. If you're
Happy
watching this
birthday,
live.
by the way. I
birthday
forgot to
Thank
tell you.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
been
gonna
Travis's
be-
birthday all day
older
Yeah.
than Brian. Yeah.
for a few months. Yeah. Awesome. Well, from all of us at PS Premiere, thank you. I guess Preston, did you want to plug something too?
No. I guess go get Game Pass. It's pretty good. Just reiterate our no, unfortunately. I guess you can follow me at PT Wilkie on Twitter. And hopefully you'll be doing more things like this here in the coming times and days and weeks and months.
Yeah. I hear rumors you might be crossing over to the punkish side pretty soon. So
I'm hoping.
we'll see. We'll see what develops with that. Until then, this has been PS Premiere. Thank you again to Preston, Rob, and Travis for joining me. I'm your favorite disembodied head, Brian Keese, and we hope to see you next time.
Bye. Bob Eggs.
Bob Eggs.
Realize with the black hoodie, I look like I've just been floating this whole time.
Yeah.